Welcome back to another episode of Movie Style Memory Lane. If you don't see Dan, people that are watching on video, if Dan's not dancing, it's probably because he feels like just like a piece of just red meat frying on a pan right now. He's really sunburned, so he's not dancing tonight. But I think he's still happy to be back. It's been a minute.
Yeah. I'm always glad to be back on Movies Down Memory Lane. I really enjoyed this talking to you guys about movies.
Well, we've been taking a break. We had some other things. I had some, Shelf Shock Rewind to do and some movie mutations to do. And, finding the right way back in took a minute. But we are back. Dan Skip Allen's here. I'm Stephen Billings. And, of course, Andrew Cabral. How's it going, man? How you doing, Andrew?
Doing good. We're moving right along here. We're back. It seems like we didn't even skip a beat from taking a little break from Movies Down Memory Lane for about a month. I think it's been about a month.
Something like that, yeah. And speaking of a month, we are going to change the scheduling of this show. Now, as much as we say we love doing the show, I get to talk with two of my good friends here about our favorite movies. But we are going to switch up our scheduling on the show. We are going to go to one a month. And now Unwatched Pile is going to become a two time a month show. We're going to see how that works out for a little while. But the way I see it is we won't run out of our. I mean, obviously, it's hard to run out of your favorite impactful movies. I mean, there's tons of movies that have impacted us in our lives, but this just makes sure that we don't go through the best ones really quickly. So, but yeah, we are back again. This time it's my choice coming back, and I chose to go with one that kind of was I'm pretty sure this was my introduction to Edgar Wright, and that's the 2011 film Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Guys, this movie, I think I could say easily is one of the most rewatchable movies I think I've ever watched in my life. It's instant. I could watch it back to back to back, and it would never get old for me. Dan, let's start with you. What is your relationship to this movie?
Yeah, I hadn't seen it in a long time. I got the 4K not that long ago.
Yes.
And I've been meaning to rewatch it, and I just didn't get around to it. I saw this back in the theater when it came out, just like all three of us did probably.
Yeah.
And I know for a certain subsection of America, this is like there's a big deal for them. Young people that grew up in the last 15 or so, 20 years or so, and this is like their jam. But I just never felt that this movie, I never felt like a connection to Scott Pilgrim versus World. Rewatching it, I enjoyed some of the elements of it. You know what I mean? I love the video game elements of it, and the collecting of the points, and then the P monitor,
Yeah.
And some of the computer graphics that are on screen, like the old-fashioned video game type of stuff. But I mean, I haven't been in a lot of relationships in my life, so the whole 7 Deadly Exes, and he's dating this one and this one, and I just never felt a connection to that kind of stuff. Well, it's a fun movie. It's a fun movie.
No, for sure, and obviously this is my obsessed pick, so I'll get into why I'm obsessed with it. And I don't think every movie that I think bring in here as an obsessed pick necessarily means that we have to be connected to the characters or the story. Like, it's not necessarily that don't have to be the sole reason. We'll get into it, but I want to hear from Andrew now. What is your place with this movie?
So I am of the same mind as Steven. I was obsessed, double obsessed with this movie.
Honestly, probably more obsessed than I am with this
when
movie.
It came out. Actually not even when it came out, because unlike what Dan just said, I did not see it in the movie theater. I saw it afterward at home on Blu-ray. Was I think the first time I heard it. I remember when it came out in theaters and a lot of people were really loving it. A lot of people who were the same age as, Steven and I at the time really loved this movie. Like this was like their cult hit of the time because it is a bit of a cult hit.
Well, I mean, I was going to say it bombed at the box office.
Yeah, and that's kind of an Edgar Wright thing that happens. His movies kind of bomb, yet they get like a new life later on. It's a weird thing that keeps happening. But this was similar to it. It was something that I discovered later on, and I think a lot of people like me discovered it afterward, probably. So it came out in 2010, August. It was a summer movie of 2010. So the Blu-ray probably came out later that year, something around there. So I probably got it around then. And then I just watched this movie like for years, like over and over again. I remember going to Best Buy, buying the Blu-ray, watching it, and just immediately loving everything about the movie. Everything. Yeah. Like I went out and bought the soundtrack. I got my CD soundtrack. Yes. I bought a 17 by 14 inch poster that I had framed, and I don't know where it is, but I had that framed for the longest time. I even went out and bought the comic books. I told the people on Chasing Labels I was going to bring out the comic books, and here they all are. The old trade paperback black and white comic books. It was originally a black and white comic, and I was just enamored by it. I loved the style. I loved how it's kind of like one of the best video game movies ever made that's not based on a video game.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, it's a comic book movie, so it's one of the best comic book movies ever made.
But it feels like a video game. Like it has the pacing and adventure of a video game.
Sure, yeah.
And the fighting and like dancing with the coins and the punching and all this kind of stuff. And what is interesting is even at the time they developed a Scott Pilgrim game. Yeah. It was like an old school NES 8-bit game that you could play on your consoles at home, and it was such a thing that I'm super obsessed with this movie. Like for years and years now, it's been one of my favorite rewatches. Like Steven said, it's one of the most rewatchable movies in my opinion, if you're someone who really likes it. And that happens for Edgar Wright in general. Shaun of the Dead, I think, is also another one that I've rewatched so many times just by happenstance. And Scott Pilgrim is a movie. It's one of those comfort movies that I think you can have on at any point. You know what I mean? Just have it on in the background while you're doing stuff. Or if you're flipping through channels and it's on, you can play it. Or if you're looking for something just to have on, you can play it. And I know not for everyone, and we'll get into it. And it's not a movie for everyone, but if you're of this ilk, it's really your jam. Like Dan said. And it was my jam. Maybe we were just at the right age at the right time.
Maybe. Comic book movies were starting to become a big thing at that time. We were only a few years removed from the Iron Man, Dark Knight kind of, blow up of the genre. And for me, this is I think and this was, I think, a progression of obsession. Like, I don't think I was like obsessed with it like Andrew was like right off the bat. Like, but over the years, I've just grown more and more like obsessed with it because of how much I can rewatch it. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. But also, like, I think when I narrow in on what I think so great about the film, I think it comes down to one of Edgar Wright's biggest qualities is his editing. And that's why the movie's so easy to rewatch, is because he knows he has such a frenetic editing style that's so creative, and he brings that into every movie he does. I mean, whether it's the Baby Driver thing where it's edited to the music, or, Shaun, there's these really creative transitions. Like, he just knows how to keep the movie going and script. And even it comes down to the scripting as well. Like, if you don't script this out well, all this stuff don't work either. So like he has a really unique and I think just propensive way of editing these movies and putting them together. And I think that's, like I said, this was probably my introduction to Edgar Wright, and I think that's why it's so important to me, because I find him to be one of my favorite current filmmakers. And I think he's different than a filmmaker like Tarantino. Like, I think they have similar kind of like they love film, and they kind of wear it on their sleeve, and they kind of show their influences. But I think Edgar Wright I feel like he does it in a more, he finds a way to get an identity in there that's not.
He hides it better.
He hides it better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the more Tarantino you see, and the more you see what he's referencing, you can see, oh yeah, that's a direct reference.
yeah.
As opposed to Edgar Wright is more of the homage, if you will.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, Tarantino's like monster mashing his movies. Like it's like, he's just like taking shots. and filmmaker, he's not the only filmmaker that does that. Filmmakers will openly talk about how they steal from others, but like you said, like it's pretty obvious a lot of times with Tarantino. And we've talked about, we'll get into Tarantino in a video fully one day where I stand with him. But like it's the same thing with James Cameron. I have like a love-hate.
Similar to what Steven is saying, Edgar Wright's films typically are edited so uniquely. Energy, pacing, smash cuts. There's not a lot, and it's all done so sleek, so smooth, and so well that you don't even notice if it's over edited or not. You don't even notice it. Especially when he's doing like action like this, or like you said with Baby Driver, with car chases and stuff. It moves so well, and there's no wasted time in Scott Pilgrim. Like every single scene is a character thing, or it's pushing the plot forward. Like Dan said, Scott has to battle these 7 evil exes. So you're going from one ex to the other, but you're also having to balance the relationship he's having with Ramona, Knives, his friends, his sister, and also like the battle he's going on, the existential journey he's going on within himself too. So there's all of these things that are balancing in this movie. And I think Edgar Wright balances all of these things really well while keeping the pacing moving with all of the editing.
And I think that's why, of course, he was initially going to make Ant-Man. Yeah, he can make, if there was anybody that was like primed to make like an Avengers movie or something like that, Edgar Wright knows he could make that movie, and balance all the characters and balance all the action. He would be perfect for that. But I think at this point he's past wanting to do like, like an IP.
You see some of the sensibilities in the Ant-Man that came out.
Sure,
it was going to go a little bit further than what Marvel wanted to do.
Yeah,
it needed to fit a certain aesthetic into it, and so that's why he didn't work out for them. But you could see some of the things, especially later in the movie, in like the children's playhouse and how all the things, the big ant and all that stuff. That's the kind of stuff you think, okay, that's the kind of stuff Edgar Wright would have did, because I believe they still basically used his script.
Yeah, he's a writer technically on it.
Yeah, he got credit on it.
He got like story credit.
WGA credit.
Yeah. What I was going to ask Steven though on this was one of the reasons that you were a fan of it, is it the band stuff, because you being a musician and you have your own band, the battle of the bands and all that.
That's definitely
me. I was like, yeah, this could be a Steven, why Steven likes this movie.
It's definitely an element that draws me into it for sure, because not just that it's got a band in it, but that the music's actually good. That's what's
90s like garage band music.
It's like punk. It's punk garage rock type of stuff. Yeah. Now let me ask you this, Andrew, as somebody that's involved themselves in the comics, is that the band's in the comics, but there is no music, so they had to create music for this movie.
Yes.
So that's also another element that this movie just knocks out of the park, is that they wrote music. They added their own original stuff to this story and made it even better, because I'm looking at the soundtrack now and there's 19 tracks on here, and it's like, it's a lot of it is the music that they play in the movie, like, We Are Sex Bomb and all kinds of stuff in here, and like the Fiona song, that's like barely anything.
Black Sheep, the Fiona song, the Ramona song, Ramona. Yeah, there's an acoustic version of Ramona, and then there's a regular version of Ramona. Beck does the Ramona song. They have Under My Thumb by the Rolling Stones on the soundtrack. Wow. I don't remember that being in the movie, or maybe it was.
Maybe that was in the credits or something.
Edgar Wright loves needle drops. He and James Gunn are like battle each other for like how many needle drops they can put in a movie. Just unbelievable. But you're right about the whole like kind of that soundtrack of the movie is so unique, and like I knew I loved the movie right away when one of the first songs that they titled Launchpad McQuack, and I'm like, oh, it's a reference to DuckTales. I'm already in the right place. Like this is like the movie for like my generation. Which is odd because Edgar Wright's he's not a millennial. He's he's from Gen X. So it's kind of interesting how it's like that borderline Gen X, early millennial culture that he infused into this movie with the music, with the cultural references.
You know what else would have been a perfect movie for him to take on that I think he would have done so much better is Ready Player One. He would have done way better with Ready. Now, obviously, some people's problems with that movie are because they couldn't get all the references in there, the IP. But that's understandable because it's all over the place.
Yeah, and it was one studio that did it. Was I think Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers,
one who did it.
Now I love
they
Spielberg.
Didn't have the rights to some of the stuff, and they changed it. Like the video game. What was the video game in that they changed to The Shining instead because they couldn't get the rights to the video game? What was that game?
I can't remember.
The old-fashioned like Excalibur type video game.
Yeah.
And I can't think of the name of it right now, but they used The Shining instead because Warner Brothers have the IP for The Shining, you know?
Yeah. Even like the vehicles they use, they could only use certain things. I mean, like there was a lot of Star Wars references in the book, and I'm like, there's no way they could use any of this.
They Gundam instead of some of the other stuff that they couldn't use.
And they used like the Iron Giant and
because that's Warner Bros. They couldn't use the DeLorean, I believe. They couldn't use because that's Universal.
I thought they used it because
did they use the
Spielberg was a producer on Back to the Future through Bangman, I think.
Yeah.
So maybe they were able to use it. But either way, I understand what you're saying. Edgar Wright is kind of part of that era. As you mentioned, Steve, all the 80s, IPs and stuff like that. Like we were talking about Back to the Future and Star Wars and other things like He-Man and whatnot. Ironically, those IPs have never gone away. They just keep using them. So Edgar Wright could eventually do something within that realm because it's never going to go away.
Yeah. So yeah, I know we're already almost 18 minutes into this, but like if people haven't seen this movie, essentially the story is you got Scott Pilgrim who's been broken up with. It was like 431 days, something like 400 something days since he. Yeah, we get exact numbers in this. Get a lot of exact stats on things in the background of this movie, and so to be clear, Scott Pilgrim's kind of an asshole.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that later on, but Scott. Like
and he's dating a high schooler, and
that's the thing.
It's to be poked fun at, and we know,
and it is. And he gets ripped for it constantly in the movie,
and he knows it too. He already knows that it's shameful.
Yeah,
that's the thing. That's the redeemingness of it. Is he knows that it's ridiculous. That's why he doesn't want anybody to know about it, really. And then, it's his behavior after that makes him look like a real asshole.
You're not supposed to be rooting for him. He's kind of this interesting version of a protagonist that people struggle with, where you're not supposed to root for him because, like Steven said, he's kind of a loser asshole. He's kind of dumpy and mopey, and he's dating a high school, and you realize that it's kind of just for him to like make himself feel better. Essentially.
It's just a rebound
because she just idolizes him because he's older and cooler because he's older. Well,
I was going to say this movie is one of them movies that we don't get a ton of. I wish we'd get more of these movies of like after high school and like where you don't know what to do with your life kind of movies. Even though, you might've went to school or, he's like 22 years old and he's like, doesn't have a job and he's like living with, his gay friend dude who has other gay men and has sex in the same bed with him. And it's just like, whatever. Kieran Culkin is the best part of this movie.
Yeah.
By the way.
The cast is incredible.
It's an incredible, and it's before any of them were all super popular.
Yeah. It's before a lot of them blew up.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's go through it real quick.
Yeah.
Obviously at the top we got, what's his name? What's the Michael Cera. We have Mary
Elizabeth Winstead, Kieran Culkin.
Yeah. Chris Evans plays one of the evil exes.
Jason Schwartzman.
Schwartzman's in there. Who's
Ralph. Was this before Superman or after?
No, this was after.
This is after Superman.
Yeah.
But I mean, the movie didn't. It wasn't a big jumping off. I mean, he essentially disappeared after that.
Sadly, after Superman, his career kind of went nowhere.
He did Chuck. He did Chuck for a season, and that was good.
Yeah. Well, other people in this movie, Anna Kendrick. I think this was
Brie Larson
around the time before.
Brie Larson before she was any kind of thing.
Aubrey Plaza is in the movie. Who else? You guys mentioned Jason Schwartzman.
Whitman.
Mae Whitman. Yes.
Mae Whitman.
One of my favorites, Mae Whitman. That's a little Arrested Development reunion in Michael Cera and Mae Whitman. You want to talk about a show I was obsessed with? That's something for a different podcast, Arrested Development. But that was a nice reunion. And let's see.
What the hell of a I mean, for him to get all these people, I bet he got them pretty cheap though, because some of them were like major stars at that time, right? And so, I mean, for him to get all these people, it's like it had to be a pretty good coup at the time, you know.
It was an $85 million budget. So
yeah, a lot of that probably went to special effects and whatnot.
But like $25 million of that is the cast.
Maybe, but I don't think any of these actors were that expensive at that time. You know, Michael Cera is not a huge star. Chris Evans, this was
a couple
2010.
Years before.
This was before Captain America, right?
I believe he was probably filming it in this during around this time. Yeah.
So this was before he became, you know, a multi-million-dollar star. Mary Elizabeth Winstead hadn't really done a lot at the time. She was still doing indie movies for a lot of the early 2010s, and even to this day, she kind of still does that. I
don't see her a lot anymore. I don't know what happened with her.
She's married to Ewan McGregor.
She was just in Ahsoka, the Ahsoka series.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
I know
she's in that.
Yeah, she's married to Ewan McGregor.
She's got Star Wars money. She's got Star Wars money. But Anna Kendrick, I think at the time, Anna Kendrick and Edgar Wright were dating. I think they were an item at the time. So I think that's why she was in this movie. Aubrey Plaza, I think at the time, this was right around Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec was on. But the cast, like you said, is incredible, and they all play their roles pretty on cue. And like Steve said, Kieran Culkin gets all the best lines.
He's the best.
He's got so much snark in this movie.
It's funny. It's crazy how long it's taken for him to he won an Oscar.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that he broke out, but it's like until he does more after this. I mean, obviously he did Succession, and then he did A Real Pain, won his Oscar, and now I'd like to see what he does next. But it's like this was like 15 years earlier. You know, like it's like he was already great here. You know, like what happened?
What is interesting is that he obviously Macaulay Culkin, his brother. They've been acting since they were little kids. So it's not like he hasn't been acting. You know, he's been acting for.
And then there's another brother too. What's the other? Who's
Rory Culkin?
Rory Culkin.
He's in the Scream franchise.
He was in Scream 4.
He's also in one of our favorite movies, Columbus.
Yes, he is in a small role. Yeah, he is. Yeah. Forgot about Rory Culkin. Kieran Culkin's got all the best lines, the best jokes.
What's your favorite Kieran Culkin moment in this movie?
There's the first fight when he yells out "fight" and Michael Cera fights him, and then there's the other line where they're going where they meet Chris Evans and like, oh look,
it's that guy.
It's like, oh yeah, oh look, Evil X.
It's like he's such a big fan of his, and he is acting like he's a fan of it. Is why he's kicking the crap out of Scott Pilgrim.
My favorite part is where he's he just finds out about Knives, him dating Knives and dating a high school girl, and then he's like, oh, and he like goes right to texting his sister, Anna Kendrick. And then he's like, how did you find out so quickly? He's like, yeah, he just messaged me and he's over there sleeping.
Wallace.
Wallace.
And the great things, he steals Anna Kendrick's boyfriend at the first Battle of the Bands.
Yeah. That's hilarious. The other
great
moment too for me was when he comes home. He's like, you know who's drunk? Me. And he like throws the keys and hits him. And then he's like, as he's talking, he's like, I just had a dream about, a girl. And he's like, can we pretend that the girl is a guy in your dream? And then like every time he says something, he's like, he like corrects him with changing it to a boy.
Changing the pronoun.
It's changing the pronouns to boy versions. I thought that just little things like that were hilarious every time I watch it.
Yeah, every time he's, like I said, best stuff.
But back to the synopsis.
Get back to the synopsis.
Yeah. So he's an asshole. Scott Pilgrim's dating a high schooler, and then he has this dream of this, as we call them in cinema, manic pixie dream girl type.
Yeah.
That he then runs into the next day, and then he instantly falls in love and is obsessed with her, and follows her down the rabbit hole of all the evil exes he has to fight in all different situations. And that's really the movie. I mean, I don't want to give away all the moments, but
you're right. That is the plot of the movie. I would say it's a little more complex because there's a lot more going on within
there's other side things.
And Ramona and Knives and what they all, like, they're in the kind of that triangle, you could say, and all the other stuff going on around them. But you're right. And it's a series of fight sequences that are all stylized really well, all choreographed really well. Special effects are really good, and they're all done like a video game style, like we were saying. So that really endeared us, to us.
I mean, it's one of the most uniquely filmed, uniquely styled movies. I mean, like, yeah, obviously this could be done on, anybody could make these effects these days are probably a lot easier to make now, but like most movies don't look like this. I think that's the obsessiveness of this movie, is that this is like one of the coolest movies ever made, I think.
It's interesting that you say that, because this movie only came out 16 years ago, and movies today don't really look like this. They don't look this polished. They don't look this, well done in terms of special effects and integrating that into the plot. Integrating it so well that you don't question that that doesn't look real. You know what I mean? You don't question it because it fits so well. And that's so unique, because nowadays, every time I see green screen work, blue screen work, overlaying of special effects, it's so noticeable. And it doesn't fit, it doesn't look like it fits.
Well, also, because we know that this is like inspired by video games, the fact that if any of the effects are somewhat cheesy, it's okay, because we understand that that's
the world,
the vintage. That's what we're going for.
Yeah, and the movie sets that stuff up right away. Yeah. Like, it sets it up right away with, like you were saying, with this dream sequence. There's this whole thing. They don't really explain it a lot in the movie. It's utilized a lot in the comic books. This interdimensional highway that they travel through.
Yeah.
Through doorways and things like that. A lot of that more fantasy, supernatural stuff, they don't get into a lot. It's just kind of there in the movie.
They're like, I think there's a thingy over here. Let's go over there.
Let's go over there. And then, like, she walks through doorways, and she's able to, like, she works for Amazon.ca as a delivery person, which is, I'm going back 16 years now. Have you ever had to sign for an Amazon package? I know I haven't.
Not anymore. No.
I didn't know that was a thing at some point.
Speaking of saying thingy in the movie, one of my favorite lines is, "Can you do a grindy thingy?" On that?
It's called a grind, bro.
It's called a grind. Can you do a grindy thingy? You're not going to bait me into doing that.
You know how many GIFs and, like, memes I've seen from this movie? And, like, when Chris Evans is walking away looking at his cell phone, he goes, haha, hilarious. Like, just randomly. Yeah, just so great.
He steps out of the trailer and the Universal music comes on.
Nice. I love every single line from Mae Whitman's character, because she's trying to be so ridiculously, like, hardcore badass, but she's just, like, fumbling her words and not making any sense and jumbling her words.
She's, like, got Southern accent from somewhere.
Yeah, she fakes the Southern accent. And I love how she says, like she's bi-furious because she's bisexual. I think that whole sequence is hilarious. She has a giant mallet like Harley Quinn from Batman. This movie is insanely stylized. It's so rivetingly entertaining.
Let's let Dan. We can go all day. Dan,
yeah, I could talk about this movie forever.
Well, my major thing is, what do you guys think about, like, Michael Cera? Because he did Juno and he's done a couple little things here, but this is kind of like his real coming out party of, like, him being a movie star. Then he drops off after a while. Now lately he's been coming back a little bit more. What do you think about Cera as like a bona fide movie star? And this movie really made him that.
I think ultimately he is limited. Unfortunately, like people like like Dwayne Johnson, they're limited when they're really big. He's really scrawny and small, and I think limited, unfortunately, because of his physique, to doing a lot of different things. But ultimately, it could be that he just isn't getting the roles that he wants, or maybe he's deciding not to work as much. But like,
I'm not the biggest fan of the Phoenician Scheme that came out last summer, but I liked him in it.
I still haven't seen it, but I think it's. I mean, similar to Jesse Eisenberg, who I think seems to be getting more interested in filmmaking than actually acting as much. But like, I think that maybe he's just limited in his roles that he's getting opportunities for. But I think he's a fun actor. I mean, he doesn't do a lot of different things, but what he does, I typically like, and he's usually got good comedic timing.
I liked him in The Running Man that came out in November too. Like
that was fun. He was fun in that. Yeah, I didn't like the movie that much, but I thought he was fun in it.
What is it? It's interesting because Michael Cera kind of fits into, like you were saying, certain actors who do something really, really well, and they tend to do those things over and over again. I mean, like Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah,
he's kind of like this type of actor, where everybody else is having fun around him, but he's kind of playing it straight.
I wouldn't say he's playing it straight. I think he can play. He plays quirky.
He's got that quirky manicness. If anything, Michael Cera is. If anything, he would have fit in with Woody Allen films really, really well. Woody Allen was still making movies.
He did a Woody Allen film in the mid 2000s, I believe, or late 2000s, I believe. I think he did do a Woody Allen film, like set in Rome, Italy somewhere.
Was it To Rome with Love?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
I know Jesse Eisenberg was in a few of those movies. That's what he was basically just a stand-in for Woody Allen, essentially. Yeah. But Michael Cera is kind of like one of those actors who, quirky, manic, does things really well. What is interesting with this role is I think it combines those elements really well, because the Scott Pilgrim character is, quirky and weird, but he's also able to like kick people's asses too, which you don't think of. You know what I mean? Like, he's able to throw down against Chris Evans, Brandon Routh, the various other people who have like magic powers and stuff, and you don't think these things. And
he uses his cleverness and his wit to beat a couple of these people. But
he does.
Like, he beats them with milk. Like, he gives somebody who has
that might be one of the
sequence is pretty great.
That's one of the best bits of the whole movie.
Wait, you get the
vegan police.
You get the cameo appearance of Clifton Collins Jr. and Thomas Jane just randomly.
That's milk and eggs, bitch.
Yeah, What, gelato's not vegan? It's milk and eggs, bitch. You had a plate of chicken parmesan. Chicken's not vegan.
But the best part of that scene is when it's slow motion and they run away and they're like, yeah.
What's kind of funny. Also, like, he's like killing people too. Like, he kills them and they explode into coins. I mean, I know it's straight out of a video game, but still, he's like murdering people in this movie. It's nuts.
You were vegan, now you will be gone.
The lines are so good. And then, we forgot to say that he's also like a musician too. We talked about that.
He's a bass player,
They utilized music as a weapon in the movie as well at times, which is so fascinating. Like, they have this bass off. He and Brandon Routh have this bass off. And then there's the one with like the kaiju electric monsters too.
That was crazy.
That's cool stuff. Really cool
snakes
stuff.
Versus the gorilla, whatever it was.
Yeah, it's so much stuff going on. And then what's interesting is beyond all of that kind of window dressing stuff with the cool action and the effects and all this stuff, at the heart of the story is a romance story between Scott, Ramona, and in a sense Knives Chow as well. Like, that's the core of the movie. It's a character journey.
I don't even know that you could really call it a romance. I think this
a relationship. Then
it's definitely a relationship movie, but I think it's about people that are obviously not ready to be in relationships.
Yeah.
It's not. It's all of them are in. They're not. I mean, even you could even to an extent say Scott should not be with Ramona either. Like it's like
they're all going through existential things in this specific moment of their lives, and they probably shouldn't be, like you're saying, Steve. They shouldn't be with another person.
They should all be focusing on themselves.
They should all be fixing themselves because they all got things going on. Ramona's got a lot of baggage.
Knives is in high school still. She should be worrying about her education.
Yeah, Scott's got a lot of
Scott isn't got a job.
Stuff.
He ain't doing anything.
He's got to figure out his life. I mean, there's all kind of life things they got to figure out.
Only been focused on relationship to her life. Has let men control her, and now she's trying to get away and start over. But the first thing she does when she gets here is now starts dating Scott.
She falls back on old habits. Yeah. And I mean, I don't want to focus back on the comics, but her changing her hair is a really big thing in the comics. Like, that's an indication of her going through like mental health issue problems. And then she changes her hair every single time she goes through something traumatic, something that she's having a difficult time dealing with. She changes her hair, and that happens several times within the movie. And they don't really harp on that too much, but they do harp on this idea of Gideon controlling her and her being controlled by other people and her not having really autonomy in her own life. There's a whole thing with that in there as well. There's a lot going on in this movie, and I think Edgar Wright at least delivers it all pretty well to the point where we can get the message pretty clearly.
Yeah.
Reminded me of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind with Kate Winslet.
A little bit,
she always changed her hair, in that movie. And yeah, when she changed it to blue, you said, okay, I understand why she's changed it to blue, because there's something she's dealing with an issue, It's like, oh, blue hair color, blue. She's kind of blue. She's down, Sure. She's down. He's like, you changed your hair. Yeah.
She's fickle. She's impulsive. It's just like, no, but I love. Speaking of blue, I love the when Knives dyes her hair and then it gets knocked out.
Punches her in the face. And
he knocked the highlights out of her hair.
She's trying. It's
interesting. Young Neil.
Yeah, she's trying to be Ramona, by changing her hair. I also love how it really captures this. I mean, this is 2010, so this is a different time, different generation. But like this idea that young people view people in their 20s as being like super older and super cool and super like they've lived life or something like that. Yeah. But all those of us who've lived through their 20s, you realize that's not really it.
That's not nearly enough time. Yeah.
That's also not nearly the way it is. You're not.
We haven't
really
even talked about young Neil. I mean, funny enough, his name is Young Neil. Neil Young, nice. Neil. That's funny, but like, he has some great moments too, and like even the first time that Knives is there, and he's like, "What do you play?" He's like, well, "That's a hard question." It's hard, like he goes through video games.
Talk about a throwback. He's got a Nintendo 3DS. I'm pretty sure it's a Nintendo 3DS, and he's talking like, I play Atari, I play Tetris, I play Zelda.
That's just a really tough question, but. Yeah, dude, we could go through just moments. We could sit here and go back and forth about moments of this movie. But I think for me at the core, I think this movie accomplishes the greatest thing you could do for any movie, which is its rewatchability. This infinitely rewatchable, infinitely, entertaining. And I think it also has something to say in there. It's not just empty entertainment. And, for me, I think what makes it so obsessive for me also is just like the style. It's one of the most uniquely stylish movies I think ever made. And it's up there for me. It's up there in my top 50 films for sure.
Oh, yeah. It's one of my favorites as well. I would even put it higher than top 50 for me.
Yeah. I don't have it on a list somewhere, but like if I'm being safe, I'm saying 50 because there's a lot of movies out there.
I
the weird
top,
part,
top 30.
The weird part is I didn't realize this is your pick, Stephen. I thought this is Andrew's pick.
Wait, it could have been.
Might as well be.
Yeah. Because I said to myself, this is the kind of movie that Andrew would pick. I didn't realize it was your pick because I remember us talking the last time. Oh, next time when we come back, it's Andrew's pick.
Well, he's got to give us his pick at the end of the episode.
Right.
But
I do have to do that.
But ironically enough, you guys are so closely aligned when it comes to your love of this movie. It could have been Andrew's pick. Same thing with Almost Famous. If he didn't pick Almost Famous, you would have picked Almost Famous.
I would have picked it, yeah, for sure. Yeah. There's gonna be a few like that with me and Andrew for sure.
Yeah, because you guys do have a lot of similar types of movies that you like, you know.
Yeah.
And you grew up in the same era a lot of the time, you know. So it makes sense that you guys would pick movies that the other one would pick, you know.
Mm-hmm. But unless there's anything else, this movie, I could go and watch it right now after talking about it for
I rewatched it last night. I hadn't seen it in years, and it was like watching an old friend. It's like, yep, I know this movie, every single line, every single scene, every single everything. I know it. It's a movie that's still talked about to this day. People debate it online all the time because they had that Netflix Scott Pilgrim thing a couple of years ago, that animated thing which they brought back the whole cast from this movie to do it. That only lasted one season on Netflix. And it's interesting how kind of cultural staying power this movie has had and how it still sparks a lot of online debate. So specifically around the character of Scott Pilgrim, who, like we said earlier, is not a good guy. Like, we're not supposed to be rooting for him. He's supposed to start out and then end up somewhere.
By the end of the movie, he confronts all the bad things that he's done, and that's
he realizes.
Yeah, he realizes that he's not making a lot of good choices in his life, and that he needs to become a little bit more self-reflective.
Yeah, and that he's also like selfishly hurting people, even if it's not intentional. He's still doing it. You know, he doesn't intend to hurt Knives or intend to hurt Ramona, but he's still doing it. He doesn't intend to put down his friends, but he's doing it. And it takes a lot of self-awareness to realize those things. And oftentimes in real life, a lot of people don't realize those things.
Sure.
And the movie maybe is commenting on that. That people need to really take stock of and be more aware of their own actions in their own lives and how it affects others around them. And you know, Scott is able to kind of come to that epiphany at the end of this movie.
Then he has to literally fight himself.
But
he doesn't.
He befriends himself.
Evil self, yeah.
Which is also interesting. It's like he befriends his like nemesis, Nega Scott. And it's also kind of another commentary where like maybe like your nemesis isn't as bad as you think they are just because they look a certain way or maybe are a certain way. That's a whole thing they don't really get into in the movie. I did want to ask you guys this though. There's an alternate ending, and I don't want to give away the ending of the movie, but there's an alternate ending. So we know how the movie ends, right?
Yeah.
So in this alternate ending, it's the opposite. He ends up with the other person. Yeah. And I always wondered how people view that, or how you guys may view that.
I want him to end with Mary Elizabeth Winstead. That's not Knives Chow. I think she's a little bit immature for him. I think he needs more.
I think he's too immature for her. Okay. I think it's the other way around, Dan. She's obviously smarter than him.
She seems a little too immature for him.
Well, she's definitely a young person, but she's they're both not in a place that, like we already talked about earlier, they're both not in a place that they should be. She should be in a relationship with somebody more her own age.
Yeah, her own age. Her own.
That doesn't make her immature. But he's obviously like immature. He shouldn't be with her.
If anything, he's using her to kind of just stay stuck in one place, like I've said earlier. I mean, and he's also kind of using Ramona also too as well. But we talked about him kind of realizing that. But there is an alternate ending that's been on the on the Blu-ray, on the 4K of the opposite happening, and it doesn't quite have the same feeling of like new beginning, new revelation, a new path going forward, which I think is where you want this character and these characters to kind of end up. You want them to start over essentially, kind of click the to be continued on the video game.
Well, this is the only thing I would say about that. Okay, so part of me would actually prefer that nobody ends up together. I think it would have been better if Ramona would have just left on good terms, but left, and that we didn't really open it up to like, oh, he's going to go off with her, because to me, she's the one that needs to get away to start over. He only just needs to start. He's prolonging his, his reason for being where he's at is because he got broken up with. I mean, he's just, I mean, in a way you could say he's just what he is, kind of being a loser. I mean, ultimately, like everybody is, it happens to a lot of guys. It happens to a lot of girls. You get broken up with, and you get down in the dumps for a while. He let it hang around for over a year with this particular girl, and then can't get out of the funk. And it's like, you're just being a slacker. You need to get your life going. You don't need to go and start over somewhere. I mean, that's. I don't have. There's no empathy for that.
I would say that what you're saying is true. I would say for the character that we meet at the beginning of the movie.
Sure.
But since he's gone through this character journey, I feel like he's a different character at the end, obviously.
Yeah,
I feel like him getting his life he's now in a better place at the end of this movie to do that, to get his life together, to move on, to grow as a person and literally.
I mean, good for him that he has a way out to do that with going with her, but like, does he need to? Should maybe he do that growing on his own instead of trying to do
that? You say that is we don't really know if he does succeed at that at all. You know what I mean? Because the movie ends with this kind of big question mark: is what's next? We don't really know if he does indeed grow, or if he is able to move past this and move on, or if he's going to fall back into his old Scott ways, or what's going to happen with their relationship. We don't really know. The movie and the comic book actually ends the same way, so it's all left up to chance.
So what we need is a Scott Pilgrim versus the universe.
Sequel.
So we don't, because this is a perfect, great movie on its own, and we don't need sequels to it.
I have a question though. You say that, but what if they did Scott Pilgrim's 7 evil exes or 8 evil
He
exes?
doesn't. He's a loser. He had one girlfriend.
He had a handful. He had the blonde that was in the band. He had Knives Chow.
She's a redhead.
Then she had the
Kim.
Kim.
Kim is the redhead. Yeah.
I will say this.
He has his handful of exes too.
I would say this: if for those of you who are big fans of Alison Pill as Kim, she has a massively bigger role in the comics than she does in the movie. Like, they go through like their whole relationship from like high school in the comics gets covered. Their high school relationship gets covered in the comics, and their relationship is very interesting. But I've always really liked Alison Pill ever since I saw her in this movie. She's another actress who's only really been kind of indie things for the most part. I mean, she was in Snowpiercer, which is Bong Joon-ho's film.
Picard season 2.
She was in what are those two hockey movies with Sean William Scott? Goon. Yeah, Goon, and then the sequel, which I think is just Goon 2, actually. She was in that because those were directed by Jay Baruchel, and they were together for a while, and they used to work together. Now they're Canadian reference in this. We forgot to say it, but the whole movie is set in Canada.
Yeah, Toronto.
And I think it was shot in Toronto as well. And
it's a love letter to Toronto. You go, it's Canadian.
A love letter, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
you barely see any landscapes other than snow.
But the fact that they reference Toronto so much in it,
I thought, and what's interesting is about Ramona, the exotic nature of Ramona is that she's from America. They mention that so many times. They go, she's from New York, Yeah.
One of my favorite bits is when he goes to that guy's like, do you know a girl that looks like this? He has to pay. It's just the squiggly hair. Just like.
Dude, my favorite one of those because there's like a smash cuts of like all the different people he's trying to find out information from about Ramona, and one guy just goes, "Oh, she's got battle scars, dude," and it's like that's very ambiguous. What do you mean?
And Audrey Plaza says you don't want to mess with her.
Yeah, don't date her, Scott. Don't date her.
And then we get, and also a good thing that references to the comics is all the backstories on the X's is all using the actual comic book drawings to illustrate.
Yeah, all that's in there as well, especially like oh my goodness, that whole reference, that offhanded reference of him when he dated Kim in high school and he had to fight like 100 guys and like he hit someone so hard they saw the curvature of the earth. That's in the comics. Like, that actually happens. That's a whole plot line in there. So in the movie, it's just an offhand comic.
It's supposed to be like it didn't happen.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like, oh yeah, that like I walked on the moon or something. No, it's like this actually happened. It's kind of the funny offhand stuff that you see. Yeah, and you see all that stuff. But I like that they did reference it. Kind of in like these side scenes in the movie, these cutaways. Really, yet again, it adds to the style of the movie. Edgar Wright is a stylish filmmaker. It's like I said, we said it earlier. It's a damn shame that his movies don't seem to do very well at the box office.
His biggest hit was probably Baby Driver, right?
Probably, yeah. I don't know how Last Night in Soho did.
I
can't remember off the top of my head. I think that was came out during COVID, so that's a tough time to gauge. But I don't know. What's interesting, he's so beloved, like Steven said earlier. You would think more people would rush out to see his stuff.
I like all his movies since this movie came out. I wasn't as big a fan of the Cornetto trilogy as a lot of people are, but I like all the movies he's done since, like this one, Running Man, Last Night in Soho, Baby Driver. I've really enjoyed all these movies. They're so different in their own ways, Yeah.
No, I mean, he's like I said, one of my favorites working right now. I love filmmakers that show their love for cinema. And
he's not spitting out new movies every other year. He's taking a few years between movies. So he puts enough art, he puts enough of himself and puts enough quality into the movies that they're not like terrible movies. Like some directors are spitting out 2 movies a year and every other year. And it's like, can you just take a break? Yorgos Lanthimos,
it really depends.
Or Baz Luhrmann or whoever. I mean, just whatever.
But it depends on who it is. I mean, like some of these guys, like you're talking about, like Lanthimos, like he's making certain types of movies that are not these big entertainment spectacles like what Wright is doing. Lanthimos is making these small, intimate, weird movies. I mean, his biggest movie is probably Poor Thing, but that's
who was
mostly
the guy who did Challengers? I forget. Luca Guadagnino. I mean, these guys just take a break for a little while. Don't keep spitting movies out every year. Give us a few years between your movies. Scorsese hasn't made a movie since Killers of the Flower Moon, but he's got like 10 things in the works.
But he's also like in his 80s. So he's
old.
Well,
it's interesting. I mean, this is as good a segue as I'm going to get from my choice for next time. Talk about directors who...
Are you really going to do another Scorsese movie after he just did one?
No, it's not Scorsese, but it is... Well, it's actually kind of what Dan was just saying. A director who doesn't seem to stop making movies and is at an old age, kind of like Martin Scorsese, and that is one Ridley Scott. And I'm going to be talking about next time Blade Runner.
Wow.
The movie that kind of changed... It's one of the bedrock movies of my love for cinema.
Which version do I have to watch?
Always the final cut. That's the one that the final cut, because that's the one that Ridley Scott prefers. So might as well go with that one. I know people like the other cuts.
I like the original cut.
Yeah, people like the one with narration.
Cinematography's dark.
I'm not talking about cinematography. I'm talking about the cut of the movie,
right?
Like the edit on the movie. Like he takes out like the talking and stuff. And
there's like 5 versions of this movie.
yeah.
There's the original theatrical, there's the final cut, there's the work print cut, there's the international cut.
I like the final cut, Andrew. I like that version.
Whatever, you 2 out of 3, whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, so I would just go with the final cut because that's the one that the filmmaker prefers. But it's interesting like I'm saying, it's interesting. You just mentioned, let a director have a break. Ridley Scott doesn't seem to take a break at all.
But the thing is I don't like. I sometimes it's hard to know if Ridley Scott even likes movies. Like I don't.
He's he's an interesting character in and of himself.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of his movies lately aren't amazing. I wouldn't say all the movies he's putting out are great.
I saw an interview with him maybe 10 years ago. He said he had 60 things in the works at any given one.
I think he just likes to work.
Yeah, I think he just likes to work. I think that's pretty close because he's put out like maybe not a movie a year, but sometimes he'll put out 2 in the same year. Like he put out, I think, The Last Duel and House of Gucci in the same year.
Yeah.
That's a wild double feature.
Last Duel got pushed because of COVID or some.
That's issue. What it was, and then it probably got pushed into House of Gucci's
the year before. It was
but he's kind of a weird one because it's like it's like you'd think somebody that does that much filmmaking cares about film, but he doesn't act like he cares that much. I think he just likes to work. And he probably likes storytelling to an extent, but he's not typically a writer on his movies.
I think he likes his work. Like, I don't think he's someone who...
I don't study cinema.
I don't hear him talking a lot about other people's work. You know what I mean? Like, I don't hear him... Like, Martin Scorsese will talk about other people's works. Like, he will go to screenings of Ari Aster's work and be like, oh, this picture is amazing, you have to see it.
Yeah.
I don't see that from Ridley Scott really ever. Like, he's so concentrated on his own stuff and what he's doing, as opposed to, like, doing that as well as talking about other people's work as well.
Well, let's get into Ridley Scott next time when we have a chance to talk about Scott Pilgrim.
Because Blade Runner, for me...
Blade Runner.
Yeah, it's a movie that I first saw at, like, a ripe age of, like, 20 or 21 years old. So it was, like, at that formative years of that. I was just starting to get into, movies at the time for real, and I was just starting to collect movies too. So I've had this on DVD, I've had this on Blu-ray, I've had this in 4K. It's like, we just talked about, Scott Pilgrim being on a top 30, top 50. This is a top 10 favorite for me. Like, this is like that important to me. Okay. So we will definitely talk about this next time.
All right. Well, that is it for this trip down memory lane. I want to thank Dan Sivalin for joining us once again. Andrew Cabral. Thanks for anybody that watches this in the future. Of course, don't forget to go to our audio platform. If you don't want to watch us, you can listen to us. Go subscribe there, and of course, go to Chasing Labels here on YouTube. And, subscribe. We watch out for the other shows, the flagship show, Chasing Labels. You got Unwatched Pile. You got you got the last episode of season 1 of Movie Mutations ending soon. We're going to have Jurassic Park dropping down there. It's going to be a good one. So watch out for that. So with that said, guys.
Audio drop.
Yeah,